Hello everyone, today we're back in the update 1.79 dev server and we're having a look at the Type 90. This is the top tier rank 6 battle rating 9.7 Japanese vehicle, the late 80s, early 90s Japanese MBT. And let's just say it has some interesting stuff to it. The first thing to have a look at is its armor profile. Its armor profile is not anything special for a 9.7 vehicle. The majority of things it will face will be able to easily penetrate it. You have the upper glacis being 360-600, lower glacis, which is angled, quite well. You can't really see it here, but it is angled, as you can see, at 53. But that is sat at 180-200, so going through the hull is incredibly easy to do. Then you have 360 on the cheeks, and then in the center, once again 180, so very similar to the Leopard 2A4, just a little bit less. And what is interesting about this machine is it only has a 3-man crew because it has an autoloader, so you don't have to worry about sorting out your crew weapon reloading skills for your tank loader, since the machine doesn't have a loader. So being able to kill either the gunner or the commander and then pierce this rolled homogeneous armor to hit the weapon rack, the ammo rack back here, will basically mean the detonation of your tank and, basic death. The only real kill shot you can do to knock out the crew with this thing is to shoot the upper glacis here, hit the driver, and then make it spore through and hit the gunner, taking out and knocking the crew, killing 2 out of the 3 people. We're talking about realistic here. There's also a big fuel tank, which seems to be very similar to a lot of other tanks. Either this is a fuel tank or ammunition. Fuel tank means that it's a bit more survivable compared to those other vehicles, but overall, what you get out of this machine, as I said, the armor is not really the important part. If you do get, let's say, penetrated through here, and it goes through the rolled homogeneous armor and detonates the ammo, you may think, oh, well, that's kind of a shame and annoying, but at least I have my blowout doors. This machine right now, after testing, does not have blowout doors for the ammunition here, so if this gets hit in the side, the whole thing just goes pop. There isn't anything stopping the Type 90 from going up. It isn't the same as the Leopard 2A4, the XM1 or the M1 Abrams. It doesn't have that ability, that mechanic on it. Instead, what you're left with is just an ammo rack, which is designed for the autoloader to load the ammunition into the gun. Now, there is no composite armor on the side of it at all. You do have this RHA between the engine and the center here, so if you get shot in the back, hopefully this will all soak the round instead of your crew doing it. On top of this, because there's no composite, you're basically left with nothing. So 25, 10, and then underneath, if I can find it, it may just be 10, with maybe 20 or 30 extra underneath, which is nothing to write home about. It's very similar to a lot of other MBTs where it has okay armor on the front and then just bad armor on the sides. What is more important is the gun when it comes to this stuff. On the side of the turret, you're looking at 80mm, but it's got no composite backing it up. The Leopard 2A4 does, but this does not. And then the back of it, well, you're looking at around about 25, 15, and 25. The easiest way to kill this thing from the back, hit here, detonate ammo. No point in really shooting the engine. Or if you've got it from the side, I mean, you can see from the side view. If the turret is side, you hit here. If not, you aim here, annihilating the ammo. Or just shoot straight through both members of the crew if you feel like it. And let's say you're in a lower tier vehicle, or if you're in an AA or something, you're struggling to kill this, just shoot it right here and take it out. Or you could maybe try your luck at a turret ring shot, which is around about 50mm. But that in itself is a rough shot. You can go through that with rank 1s though, such as the SDKFZ that I looked at a little bit more. So yeah, it definitely has an issue with the turret ring, but as you can see, the round shouldn't really get into there, but I bet you any money it does. It also has a 12.7 50 cal on the top, M2HB. It doesn't have a coaxial gun, which is kind of surprising, and the gun depression, I believe, is the worst of the new MBTs. Yeah, you have 9 on this, and then the XM1, 10, and then 10 again, yeah. So, oh, also the MX40 has 10. So yeah, it has the worst gun depression of all of them, but it has the best reload. 5 seconds reload on the autoloader is magnificent. It also has a good engine behind it, 73 kilometers an hour top speed, 1500, so pretty much the same as the Leopard 2A4 and the XM1 in the Abrams. Looking at the modifications, the first thing you may realize is you don't start off with the DM33 round, you start off with the DM12. Now, this is a 120mm gun. The Type 90 L44 was made after the Rheinmetall, like it was based on it, I should say, Japanese built. And because of that, it gets very similar rounds, apart from they're slightly better. So you start off with the Heat FS, which pens 650, muzzle velocity 1140, and then you graduate to the DM33, which has 540mm of penetration with 1650 muzzle velocity. This is the best APF SDS round in the game, and I'll just make sure of that so I don't look like a nonce or a ninny, because obviously that's happened sometimes. Let's just make sure. Yep, it is. I think it's the first round, APF SDS round, to break 500 in the game. So you're not going to have any issues penning anything with this, but you are going to have issues with stuff penning you, so it's much more of a twitch shooter with this thing, and as long as you get the first shot off, no matter where you shoot an enemy, you're going to go straight through it, even its thickest armor. It's going to be very hard to bounce with this round, so if you do it, congratulations. But overall, yeah, the DM33, it is obviously something you should go for, either first or second. Parts, depending on if you think the survivability is important in this thing, I personally actually don't think it is. The only reason I'd get parts first is to repair the gun breach if somebody is silly enough to shoot me there instead of somewhere else. But I would actually unlock the DM33 round first, just because of how magnificent it is and how it basically just puts the game on easy mode. You can just penetrate anything from any distance and not have to worry at all. So you get that, and then for second tier stuff, FPE, adjustment of fire, because you want to be back, you want to be accurate, elevation mechanism, and then smoke grenade, rangefinder, and then engine, and then the rest of them. So the speed on this thing stock is good enough, just like the Leopard 2A4, but as you get more and more components when it comes to the speed of the machine, then you will start getting up to Abrams level, then you will start getting up to 2K level. This is not a slow machine, this is a quite nippy machine, to be quite honest, and just like all of the other MBTs we have at 9.7. And out of the 3 MBTs right now at 9.7, the M1 Abrams, the Leopard 2A4, the Type 90, I would personally say this is the best. Now remember, we are on the dev server, this is all speculation, I haven't seen it in action on the live server, but at this moment it has easily the best round, it has the best reload, it has comparable speed to it, the only thing it doesn't have as good as is armor. And as we've seen with APF SDS rounds running around from the Abrams and the Leopard 2A4, armor isn't actually that important because everything can pen everything. The main issue with this machine is the fact that... Oh, I forgot what I was going to say. Ah, yes, the 3-man crew. So the 3-man crew and also the no blowout doors does mean that its survivability is not great. So you will have to make sure that you do get the first shot off every time. But because of the decent maneuverability on it, which is the same as the other top tier MBTs, or at least very similar, it basically means that what you will have enough time to be able to get into positions before you are, stricken with enemies coming at you. Now, what is interesting, Pneumatic Suspension, of course, on machines like this. There we go. Oh, we should probably go forward for this one. And they've added in a new thing, right? And it isn't actually showing here because I'm not on a hill. But they've added in a new mechanic where basically, if you're on a hill, your gun shakes, and I don't know why they've decided to do it, but that's something that's in the game, and even with Pneumatic Suspension, you can kind of do it as well and kind of screw with the system. But I wish they would kind of get rid of that, because it doesn't really make sense, especially when you have stabilized MBTs like this machine and the Leopard 2A4, the XM1, and also the Abrams and the Challenger. So yeah, that is something you may run into being an issue with a machine like this, but it's an issue that affects all of them, so you don't have to worry too much. Obviously, with the best APF SDS round in game, you're not going to worry too much. Smoke launchers, you're looking at 8 of them. They all do go at the same time, creating a very nice cone, very similar to the Leopard. And it's not really a surprise, because a lot of things by this point, the late 80s, early 90s, were incredibly standardized across the nations. So you find a lot of features which are very similar to everything going on. The Type 64A will have literally no chance of bouncing anything that you have. Neither will the T64B, I should say T, not Type. There is nothing that these machines will be able to do against your APFS DS round, so it's better just to run if you're anything else. The only thing that is going to limit the Type 90 is the fact that the Americans have some better backup tanks now compared to the Japanese in the 803 and also the XM1, and also the Soviets have better backup tanks. This is like when the Type 74 was released. The Type 74 was released to great praise, but not many people played it, because not many people wanted to grind through the Japanese tree to play it. Now, with the Type 90, I think a lot of people are going to be a lot more inclined, and what you're going to see is a machine which is going to take over the battlefield. If this does not become the top tier MBT that everybody wants to go for, I would be incredibly surprised, because it maxes out mobility, it maxes out the gun, and the armor difference is just not enough to compensate. And with the survivability may... God damn it, I lower plated it. The survivability may make a difference for a few players, but generally whoever shoots first wins the engagement, so I wouldn't be too worried about it. I'm a little bit too accurate with the shots right now. I went driver's port, lower glacis. Let's try the turret. So there you go, straight through the turret. Let's try the other side. That went through the turret, but it didn't hit anyone. Ricocheted off the optic port. And there's the gunner dead. Yeah, nothing is safe with this gun. This gun is going to go through everything that you can come up against it, unless we get something which has more than 540 or 530 millimeters of kinetic 650 heat FS. And so far, we don't have anything which is on that level. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.